important, hugely important story that broke at the top of the hour, which was that these 3 foreign terrorists who've been neutralized in Kashmir. There was a fierce gun battle that had been going on for a number of hours in the forests of Harwan. This is close to a place called Dachigam in Jammu and Kashmir. One of them has now been identified as a man named Suleiman, alias Musa. He's the same Lashkar terrorist who was the chief attacker, the chief executor of the Pahalgam attack that happened on the 22nd of April. Security forces had launched a massive operation to track down these perpetrators in the Pahalgam attack, in which 26 innocent civilians were killed. Intelligence inputs had been gathered over the last month, which seemed to suggest that the terrorists might have moved towards this Dachigam area. This is about 20-odd kilometers from the city center of Srinagar. In fact, there was reference to this, not directly by name, but certainly there was a reference to this in the parliament debate that happened as well. One of the members, Jay Panda of the BJP, referred to this killing of these 3 foreign terrorists. We'll also get an expert view on the other side of this, but I want to bring out some excerpts of why this is important, coming as it does on the day that Parliament began this debate on Operation Sindoor. In a sense, this is, at least to some degree, it goes to avenge what happened in Pahalgam. I want to play out an excerpt of what happened in Parliament, and then we'll go across to our guest.
Even as we were debating this issue today, some of us must have seen in the news that an Operation Mahadev is being conducted in Jammu and Kashmir, targeted at terrorists. And it appears that at least one of those eliminated today was involved in the Pahalgam attack.
I want to go across to Lieutenant General Retired Atta Hasnain, former GOC of the 15 Corps and the 21 Corps of the Indian Army. Thank you very much, General, for speaking with us. So we do have confirmation that out of the 3 foreign terrorists neutralized in the encounter today, one of them happens to be a man named Suleiman, alias Musa, who happens to be the main attacker in Pahalgam. Does this go to some extent, at least, in answering the opposition's questions as to why these Pahalgam attackers are still out at large and why justice has not been avenged for Pahalgam? Does this go at least in some measure?
Zaka, thank you first of all for inviting me for your program. Yes, it's a very important event which we are discussing at the moment. Over 3 months have passed almost since that terrible day on the 22nd of April 2025. 26 innocents were killed in Pahalgam. Now, having experienced this kind of a thing in Jammu and Kashmir all the time, past many, many years, one thing I will stand for is the fact that there is no question of overnight getting a result of finding 3 or 4 men on the Kishtwar range anywhere on the Pir Panjal. If you see the kind of terrain, I mean, it has to be seen to be believed. A man can just disappear and not appear for years. I can remind you of what happened to the Al Firan group, if you remember, in 1995. Those ones who killed the 5 foreign terrorists and were never found thereafter, ever. So, I think you have to give the credit to the security forces, in this case, a very fine Special Forces unit of the Indian Army, along with the Jammu and Kashmir Police, who have done a tremendous amount of background work, along with the intelligence agencies, homed on to this area. This is an area, I just want to explain to your audience, this is an area, as you very correctly said, about 20 kilometers off from Srinagar. If you keep the Dal Lake behind you, this is the area you would be facing on the other side of the Zabarwan Hills. It's a heavily forested area leading up to a place called the Mahadev Ridge, from where it leads up to the Holy Cave, where the Amarnath shrine is. And this is an important aspect which must be also remembered. The fact that these terrorists have been killed close to Zabarwan, which means they are close to Srinagar, and they are also close to the route of the Amarnath Yatra, which goes from Pahalgam via the northern route, 48 kilometers up to the Amarnath shrine. So this is something which is
why is that important, General? Why is that important? Do you think that these guys were also targeting possibly the Yatra itself?
Yes, that's why I was only alluding to that. That the Yatra is now coming to about 4 weeks, almost 4 weeks, and will terminate in another 2 weeks' time. This is the time when the overall guard starts getting a little diluted. That happens anywhere where you are deployed in long-standing operations of this kind. And this is the time when terrorists always like to try and strike. They can enter through the corridors which are there, the corridors of protection which are there. They can break through them and perhaps target some element of the yatra at this particular time. Imagine after Pahalgam, after Sindoor, if a thing like this had happened, it would be the last straw. So I think we really need to recognize what the security forces have been able to do. And as far as the parliamentary debate is concerned, on the concerned day, on the day itself, and the 16-hour debate is going on, one is very glad to see that at least this justice has been delivered. One out of those three have been killed, has been identified so far. It is possible that the others may also have been involved in this carnage in Pahalgam.
Okay, and very quickly, General, over the next few weeks and months, do you think that Pakistan would have the gumption for yet another misadventure, or do you see that they will now, having got a bloody nose on the 9th, 10th of May, they will not venture to once again test India's resolve, as it were?
Very, very appropriate question, Zaka. I'm saying that particularly because of the reason that there seems to be a very unreasonable kind of a triumphalism in Pakistan, in the ranks of the Pakistan army, that as if Operation Sindoor had favored them, that they are the ones who have actually succeeded in this operation. And this is a false sense of bravado, a self-delusion, going to the world to explain to people that this is what they have done. They have neutralized the Indian operation, the Operation Sindoor, in this 88 hours, and nothing has happened to Pakistan, and Pakistan has hit back very, very effectively. Now, to live up to this kind of a self-delusion, there is always the possibility of a second strike. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but always we have to be very, very careful in the coming period that this kind of a thing could be repeated. And therefore, our strategy has to be clear. It cannot just be a couple of more strikes. If you've done 7 strikes this time, you do 10 strikes or 12 strikes. There has to be a clear-cut strategy and an end result that you have to seek and look at. And that is something on which the security forces, and I'm sure elements of the political community, must be working together.
All right. General Hasnain, as always, a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you very much for joining us. General Atta Hasnain, their former GOC of the 15 Corps, giving us his thoughts and perspective. The important development, the confirmation of which we broke earlier in the show, Hashim Musa, alias Suleiman, the main attacker of Pahalgam. He was neutralized today in an encounter that happened about 20-odd kilometers outside of Srinagar city. And why is this such a big win for India, for the security forces? He is considered as one of the masterminds of the April 22nd Pahalgam attack, in which 26 innocent civilians died. He is considered a key planner and a key executor of the 22nd April Pahalgam attack, in which 26 civilians died. And this pips a major terror network, a major terror ring that he was closely associated with. Remember, Pahalgam was not the first terror attack that he was involved in. Earlier last year, there was the Zedmo tunnel attack as well, in which a number of people were killed, including some construction workers. This man was involved in that attack as well. So he has been wanted as a key executor of a number of terror attacks that have been that have played out in the Kashmir Valley. There's also a definitive Pakistani link. He's a Pakistani national. He is what they call an FT, or a foreign terrorist. He's supposed to be a former Pakistan Army SSG commando. Musa's death will hit the Lashkar-e-Taiba, will hit the TRF, and some of the Pakistan terror infrastructure that is based in places like Muridke and Bahawalpur. It also reinforces India's claim that it is the Pakistani state and the Pakistani intelligence agency, the ISI, that is backing cross-border terrorism in Jammu and Kashmir. It's also a major threat to the region that has been removed. Like I said, this is not the first attack. Pahalgam was not the first attack that Musa was involved in. He is allegedly involved in multiple attacks on civilians as well as forces. Musa's elimination boosts the overall security profile in Jammu and Kashmir. It is also a huge victory for Indian forces, because this was an open wound of sorts that for 3 months post-Pahalgam, the main perpetrators, the main attackers of that dastardly attack on the 22nd of April had not been brought to book, had not been brought to justice. Today, we can confirm that the Indian Army, in a joint operation with Jammu and Kashmir police, have managed to neutralize at least one of the major attackers who was part of the Pahalgam attack, and that is the man named Musa, alias Suleiman. This operation was codenamed Mahadev. As you heard from General Hasnain a moment ago, this was close to the Mahadev ranges, and Operation Mahadev, we can report to you tonight, is a big success because it has eliminated this man, Hashim Musa, alias Suleiman.